Does dirt riding help racing, and would it improve street riders' ability?
Definitely. There's no practice that you can get anywhere like riding a dirt bike.
What is it? What do you think it does for a rider that it improves?
You learn how to fall down. You learn how to slide the motorcycle around. You learn how to pick up information and for changing surfaces. You know, you learn to react really quickly.
That's a hard one to answer. I don't think from the mechanics that you have to do riding a street bike, it helps out a lot. I think it does, however, help you physically be prepared for riding a street bike. You use a lot of the same muscles. You may ride in the dirt and get it sideways and be able to catch it, but the asphalt is so much different than the dirt is that it's very difficult to compare the two.
I think it does. And I started on the street and I was on the track before I ever rode in the dirt. And I'm amazed. It really is, because first of all, you can fall down in the dirt and not get hurt. And you can try a lot of things. You might be intimidated to try because you're afraid to damage your bodywork on the street. It does teach you quite a lot.
Usually they say dirt riding improves street riding and road racing for the simple fact that you're used to the bike sliding around on you. In the rain, a lot of guys that motocross, they come out here and they do really good in the rain because they're used to the bike sliding. And on the street, I suppose if you're gonna, it's a lot of debris on the street that you don't know about. And you want to be able to take control of the situation if you hit some debris.
I think it improves your all-around riding ability and how to control a motorcycle. So in essence, it would improve your street riding.
Yeah, it does. I started racing in the dirt, or riding in the dirt, and what it helps you more than anything is if you do break traction in a corner, you know instantly how to react. It's not anything to be scared about. It's knowing how to control it once it does start to slide.
All right, that brings up a point. What do you do when the back end starts to slide out a bit? What do you do with the throttle?
You just try to be real smooth with it, because the worst thing to do is to snap it shut, because then it's going to make the motorcycle want to stand up and do what's called the snake walk. And a lot of times you'll end up going over the handlebars or falling down. So what I try to do is controllably roll it off a little bit, let it gain traction, and then just carry on.
What do you do when you get into a corner and you're going too fast?
I push down more on my handlebar, my inner handlebar. The thing I don't want to do is panic, straighten up the bike, and go into opposing traffic, because that's very dangerous. You need to trust, I think other people as well need to trust the ability of your tires and just lean in a little bit more. Look at that turn just a little bit more. You don't want to brake. You don't want to roll off the throttle, but you want to hold it steady and not continue to roll on.
Basically, like I said, is that I get into a corner, and let's say if I've lost the front end, it started to tuck a little bit, I will use a little throttle to try to bring it back. However, too much throttle can keep pushing it harder, so it's a difficult, minute line there. Also, if I'm going too fast, like I said, if I'm leaned over and I've gotten used to being able to apply very little pressure to the rear brake, I'll maybe use a little rear brake then, but I'm not on the front at all.
Would you try to lean the bike over more to scrub off more speed?
Oh yeah, I think I can do that. I think it's difficult for most people to get used to doing that, to scrubbing off speed by leaning it over.
Well, what would you not want to do if you entered a corner too fast?
Well, first of all, it's panic. That'll put you down faster than anything else. And then again, if you apply either rear brake or front brake too hard, motorcycle's a gyroscope. It always wants to self-right itself. It wants to go straight. So you got to understand that if you apply the brakes too hard and still have traction left, it's going to want to pick it up and make it go straight off the turn. I wouldn't want to use a whole lot of front brake, like I said, because if it's already oversteering, then that'll just cause it to oversteer more.
Lean over more. Usually that's what you do.
What don't you want to do?
Well, you don't want to panic. The first thing you never want to do is panic. You want to keep your cool and just make the necessary changes. You can ease on the brake, ease off the throttle, and ease the bike over a little more. You can always lean the bike over a little further.
How do you go over bumps?
I stand up on the pegs and just get my butt off the seat.
On the street, I just try, on all my motorcycles I ride, I have steering dampeners, which also will help if there's any sudden movement or change of pavement or a pothole or something like that. Best thing to do is not panic. Usually the suspension will carry you over it.
Bumps, depending, you have to have a grip on the bars, and you have to, I would say, you have to use throttle control there to make sure that you go over the bumps, because if you go over the bumps and you shut the throttle off, it loads the front end with the weight transfer back again, which can cause you more serious problems.
How do you get out of a tank slapper?
Usually if you stay in the throttle, it'll straighten back up, but ease up on the bars and stay in the throttle.
So do you think tank slappers are brought on by bad riding, holding the grips too tight, or what?
A lot of times tank slappers are brought on by what happens is the wheel tends to move one way, and then you go to counter steer the other way, and it's already moved that way. Now you're pushing on the other bar again, and you just make the problem worse and worse and worse. And if you just ease off on the handlebars, usually it'll just straighten right up.
Well, really the thing is I think is that if a tank slapper happens, your natural reaction is to shut the throttle off. If you shut the throttle off, and maybe if you can save it for 1 or 2 times, then turn the throttle back on and get the weight transfer to the back wheel so that the front becomes easier and won't want to just keep hopping back and forth.
What do you think causes tank slappers? Too tight a grip on the bar?
Ooh, hard to say. It could be a tight grip on the bar, and also actually the road conditions, if they're too bad. I think basically all motorcycles should have a steering damper of some type on them to kind of take away from having to have that real white knuckle grip on the bars.
What I find is just to hang on, never say die. You know, a lot of people will go ahead and let go of the handlebars or jump off thinking they're dead. But I'll tell you, you can have the thing just about airborne from going side to side, and as long as you try to grab it, you know, it starts to get violent, and what you try to do is just grab the handlebars and try to just you know, get them back, because they're sort of bouncing and skipping off the pavement. You just want to stop that. Try to just get control.
How do you improve night riding?
Improving night riding, basically it's all on your vision. You want to keep a clear shield. You don't want to use a smoke shield at night. You want to use either a clear shield or an amber shield.
Well, that's interesting, because last night was the first time I went out on a nighttime practice, and it really, you have to really be looking ahead, because things still on a racetrack, you're going so fast. You just want to make sure that you see far enough ahead to where you're not going to get into a problem. And even same with street riding, because a lot of times you can't see oil, or if there's coolant on the road at night especially. So I don't ride that much on the street at nighttime unless I get caught in a situation to and from work where I stayed late. Then I just ride slowly. I'll do the speed limits.
Good lighting will improve your night riding, and also what will improve it on the racetrack is following someone around that has a lot of night experience, and that'll give you the experience.
But even still, at the high speeds they're competing at, the effect of the bright lights is certainly diminished. Here we see a group of riders coming over turn 6, over the brow of the hill, and down the fast back straightaway. You can see the reflective tape I mentioned. As they drop one gear, there's no reduction in speed because of the darkness whatsoever.